Next, we're going to take a look at an inner join. And what an inner join does is it connects data between two tables. In this case, we just say table 1 and table 2. You put your real table names there, of course, and I've aliased them as T1 and T2 so that we can use the short name of T1 and T2 instead of the table name. And then what this does is it returns only the rows that match on the join predicate. The join predicate is what people sometimes call the on clause. And this is specifying an inner join. It's also known as just a plain join. If you use the word inner join or just the word join, it means the same thing. It's matching on those, and it's only showing you the things that are an exact match. Now, if you're watching and you're thinking, oh, this is a little bit boring at this point, we're just getting into it. This is the simple stuff. We're going to get into the more interesting stuff here real quick. But the join predicate, like I said, that's what's known typically as the on clause, join predicate. It's what specifies the relationship between those two tables. And why is this important is that in a lot of tables that you may work with, you've got lots of different IDs. And if you don't understand what ID signifies the relationship between table 1 and table 2, well, you may not be connecting them on the right information. I remember years ago, I was working with a report developer who didn't understand the naming of the different keys between the table and ended up joining on the wrong key, which led to just completely bogus data showing up in the reports that were built off of that. So that's why I always want to talk about here is understanding the relationship. And if you don't understand the data and how the tables work well together before you try and write your query is not going to probably work very well. So we'll flip back over to Management Studio here. We've looked at our three tables. Table 1 is the people, table 2 is the favorite colors, and table 3 is the favorite foods. Probably everybody has a much more exciting database than that. But let's take a look here, and we're going to take a look at inner join. And when we run this, we're going to be joining table 1 and table 2, and we're joining the favorite color from table 1 over to the ID from table 2. And when we run that, you can see that the first columns here, those all came from table 1. And then the ID and the favorite color over here came from table 2. And you can see that there's two people here whose favorite color was 1, which was Steve and Fred. And in that example, they actually had two favorite colors because there's an error in the data. And we all know that in real databases, you get mistakes made, but I wanted to use this for the example where there's two colors mapped to the ID of 1, of red and indigo. And that shows that because there's two rows with an ID of 1 in table 2, it ends up duplicating out these rows when it does an inner join. So some people look at it and they say, well, I've got exactly n rows that are a match. Why am I seeing more than n being the number of rows showing up in the result set? And sometimes they'll match on multiple things, like the red and indigo being shown there on the join. Now, what you also notice is there's a couple people who got left off from that original list. If we scroll back up and take a look at table 1, we can see there's Johnny and Karen down here at the bottom who don't have a favorite color. Their favorite color is null. Well, they got missed when we did the inner join because there's no way to link them up there based off of that with an inner join. So here it's just your basic select statement. You use the word inner join, and then the alternate syntax is just to use the word join rather than inner. Now, I like to use the word inner join because it's explicit. It makes it so that the next person reading it is aware that you intended to do an inner join here instead of thinking you were doing some other type of join and you just might have forgot the keyword. So when we run this, just with the join rather than the word inner join there, we get the exact same result set that we saw with the inner join above. Inner joins are by far the most common join type that you'll probably do in SQL Server. Also, just a reminder, you can download the join types poster at stevestedman.com. And this is a poster I created a few years ago that just sort of shows how all the different joins that we're going to be covering through this presentation are done. It's handy to print out and keep on your cube wall or near your workspace.